Hello, everyone. Today, I have an amazing tale for you. It's not just for your listening practice, but also to inspire you. The story is called Nothing is Free, and it will show you that hard work and guts can change lives. There was a young man named Ethan, 20 years old, living in a small, quiet town surrounded by mountains. Ethan had big dreams. He wanted to own a chain of restaurants and become a successful businessman. But life was not easy for him. Ethan's family was struggling with money. His father, David, was a mechanic, and his mother, Anna, cleaned houses to earn enough to live on. Ethan's younger sister, Lily, was only 10 and saw him as her hero. One cold evening, Ethan sat outside his little house, looking up at the stars. He whispered to himself, "I want to give my family a better life. But how do I start when we barely have enough to survive the next day?" Ethan shared his dreams with his father, David. David sighed and said, "Ethan, dreams are not free. If you want something, you have to work hard for it. Start with what you have, even if it's small." Ethan thought deeply about his father's words. Then an idea hit him. He noticed that in his town, people loved fresh bread, but had to travel to a bakery far away. He decided to start selling fresh bread in his area. But there was a problem. Ethan had no money to buy the bread. He decided to take a risk and approach the bakery's owner, Mr. Wallace. Ethan walked miles to meet Mr. Wallace, a grumpy old man who rarely trusted anyone. With self-assurance, Ethan said, "Mr. Wallace, I want to sell your bread in my town, but I don't have money to buy it right now. Can you trust me for 1 week? I will sell the bread, return your money, and keep a small profit." Mr. Wallace raised an eyebrow. "And why should I trust you, young man?" he asked. Ethan replied firmly, "Because I am serious, and I will work hard to prove myself." After a long pause, Mr. Wallace agreed. "Fine, I'll give you bread for 7 days. If you don't repay me, never come back here." Ethan felt overjoyed. Very early the next day, he took the bread back to his community and set up a small table near the park. He greeted everyone who walked past with energy and a smile, shouting, "Fresh bread, hot and tasty." Initially, people were cautious. They weren't sure if the quality was good. But Ethan gave out free samples and quickly got his first buyer. By the end of the day, he had sold every loaf and made a little money. That evening, he went back to Mr. Wallace and paid his debt. The old man nodded and said, "You kept your promise. Return tomorrow." From then on, Ethan worked non-stop. He woke up at 4 a.m., walked to the bakery, carried the goods to his town, and sold them with enthusiasm. After only 2 months, he had saved enough cash to purchase a small wagon, which let him move more bread easily. One day, a customer offered a thought. "Ethan, why don't you make your own bread? You sell well, but if you bake it, you'll earn much more." This idea thrilled Ethan, but it also made him afraid. He had never made anything in the oven. This was the moment Ethan understood. Nothing comes for free, not being successful, not learning skills, not improving. If I want to win, I must take risks and study. Ethan kept thinking about baking his own bread. If he could bake, he wouldn't need to buy from Mr. Wallace and his income would grow. But there was one huge difficulty. He didn't know how to do it. Ethan chose to ask Mr. Wallace for help. The next morning, after giving him the payment, Ethan said, "Mr. Wallace, will you teach me how to bake?" The old man frowned. "Why should I help you? If you bake, you won't purchase from me again. That harms my business." Ethan looked at him and said, "You're right. However, I won't forget the person who gave me my initial chance," Ethan stated. "If I do well, I promise to assist your shop too." Mr. Wallace paused for a bit. Then he announced, "Very well, but baking is a hard job. It needs hours, patience, and heavy effort. If you are prepared for that, I will instruct you." The lessons started immediately. Ethan got to the bakery at 3 a.m. before the sun appeared. Mr. Wallace showed him how to blend the flour, work the dough, and cook it flawlessly. Initially, Ethan struggled. His hands hurt from squeezing the dough, and his finished bread came out either too solid or too soft. One afternoon, after spoiling another big pile of dough, Ethan sat down, feeling defeated. He whispered to himself, "Maybe I'm not skilled enough for this. Perhaps I should give up." But then he remembered his father David's advice. Goals must be earned. He recognized that every mistake was teaching him something new. Quitting was impossible. The next day, Ethan went back to the bakery with even stronger resolve. He practiced each part very carefully. Slowly, his bread began to get better. After 14 days, Mr. Wallace handed him a loaf and declared, "This is perfect, Ethan. You are ready." Ethan was delighted. He leased a small stove and began preparing bread at his house. His family was impressed by his dedication. Lily, his little sister, helped him wrap the bread, and his mother brewed him tea while he worked long into the evening. Soon, Ethan was not only selling bread, he began making biscuits and sweet treats as well. People in the town loved his goods. They remarked, "Ethan's bread tastes better than anything we've ever purchased." But success didn't come easily. One day, a competitor bakery started up in the town, owned by a young man called Alex. Alex had a big, attractive store with bright signs and decorations. People were curious and began purchasing from him instead. Ethan noticed his sales falling. He felt worried. What if he lost everything he had worked so hard for? But instead of worrying too much, Ethan chose to get better. He listened to the people who bought from him and asked, "What do you like about Alex's bakery? What can I improve?" Some responded, "Alex's shop looks clean and nice." Others said his cakes have pretty patterns. Ethan understood he needed to improve, not just as a baker, but as a shop owner. Using his saved money, Ethan painted his cart, added colorful ornaments, and started giving away free tastes of his new sweet treats. He even learned how to decorate cakes by watching videos at the library. Slowly, customers returned to him. One evening, an old lady came to Ethan and said, "I've seen many young men give up when things get tough, but you didn't. That's why we believe in you." Her words filled Ethan with happiness. Months went by, and Ethan's business expanded. He saved enough cash to rent a small storefront. It wasn't as large as Alex's, but it was warm and friendly. He named it Ethan's Fresh Treats. Every morning he woke up before the sun came out, baked fresh bread, and opened his shop with a smile. His parents and sister helped him. Lily, now 11, loved chatting with customers, and his mother Anna handled the money records. But Ethan knew this was not the end of his journey. He wanted to reach more people, make his family proud, and show himself that anything is possible with hard work. Ethan's shop, Ethan's Fresh Treats, was becoming the main spot in the town. People loved his fresh bread, cakes, and pastries. Business was doing well, and his family was proud of him. But life wasn't done testing Ethan. One stormy night, as Ethan was closing his shop, he noticed smoke coming from the bakery. He ran inside quickly and saw that a small fire had started close to the oven. He quickly grabbed water and managed to stop the flames. But most of his tools were damaged. The next morning, when the locals heard about the fire, they came to check on him. Some questioned, "Oh no, what will Ethan do now?" Others whispered, "Perhaps this is the finish for him." Ethan felt very sad, but he was not defeated. He stood outside his shop and declared, "This is just a problem. I've faced tough times before, and I will handle this one too. I won't stop." He took a deep breath and began creating a strategy. He figured out how much money he had set aside and realized it wasn't enough to buy new tools. For a moment, fear entered his mind. But Ethan remembered his journey, how he started with absolutely nothing but a dream and hard work. Instead of sitting and worrying, Ethan asked for help. He approached Mr. Wallace, who had stopped working, and said, "Sir, I need guidance. What would you do if you were in my place?" Mr. Wallace smiled and said, "Ethan, you already know the answer. You've taught yourself that nothing is free. Work harder, Have faith in yourself, and others will trust you too. Feeling inspired, Ethan decided to rebuild. He didn't wait for someone to rescue him. He started baking at home once more with the few tools he had left. He told his customers, "I won't disappoint you. I'll keep serving you, even if it's just a small amount for now." The townspeople admired his bravery. Many of them started pitching in. Some donated food items, others gave small sums of money, and a few offered their time to help him clean and fix the bakery. Ethan realized something important. When you work hard and never give up, people notice. After several months of heavy effort, Ethan opened his shop again. It was better than before. He painted the walls, added new decorations, and even introduced new products like small cakes and muffins. His customers were thrilled. On the day of the big reopening, the town's leader arrived and said, "Ethan, you are a true inspiration. You've shown us all that with determination. Anything is possible." Ethan's story teaches us that goals are not free. They need hard work and sacrifice. Failure is not the end. It's a chance to learn and become stronger. Never surrender. Remember, nothing is free, but everything is possible.